Yeah. Why would we want to be efficient, right? With anything?
We're fresh and interesting no matter what, but yes.
Okay, everybody. Welcome to the Iowa Business Council's Iowa BizCast. We're thrilled today to welcome Jill Klindt, the CFO and Executive Vice President of Workiva, to join us. Just as a reminder to those listening, the Iowa BizCast is produced by the Iowa Business Council, and we're focusing in on sharing the great stories of Iowa's largest employers. And of course, Workiva fits that profile very much so. We are all about trying to share the stories that not only just impact the business world, but really sharing the stories and the different perspectives on how Iowa's largest employers are impacting our communities, our employment base, our labor force, our schools, really all the great things that go into a great company that leads to great community opportunities, as well as we're all trying so hard to make Iowa the best place to live, raise a family, grow your career, and then also have a thriving business community as well. And we've got a great agenda of questions lined up here with Jill. Jill, as I mentioned, is the Chief Financial Officer for Workiva. She has been with the company for more than, since 2008, has been in the industry for more than 20 years and was elevated to the CFO role in 2021. Jill, welcome to the Iowa BizCast.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Well, before we jump into the questions, Jill, would love to maybe just take a few minutes and turn to you and have you further introduce yourself and the company of Workiva, which is a great Iowa story in its founding.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love to do that. So as you mentioned, Jill Klindt, the CFO at Workiva, and I was a week one employee. So I was working for one of the founders when the company started up in middle of 2008, and had the great opportunity to grow with this company for the past 16 plus years. And it's been the experience of a lifetime, quite honestly. So I grew up in Lakeview, Iowa, Northwest Iowa, and now based in Ames, where Workiva is headquartered. And my husband and I raise our 3 kids here. We also then this semester, I was talking, Joe, you and I were talking before we started, we actually this semester also have a German foreign exchange student. So we've got 4 kids running around the house this semester. So it'll be a fun year. About Workiva. So Workiva was started by accountants and engineers to solve SEC regulatory reporting problems. There was a new regulation of XBRL tagging that was being required at the time, and we spun up a SaaS solution that helped companies solve for that issue. And we grew out of the ISU Research Park to a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. We went public in 2014. We had great support from the state of Iowa, the city of Ames, Story County, Iowa State University, and of course the Ames Alliance as well. And so the reason behind us founding in Iowa as a technology company, it might not be as obvious why we would be based here. But the founders all had great connections in the state and knew that there was a lot of support to be had, especially when you're trying to grow a business like we were trying to do. And it was more economically, it was a good economic idea to start here, because in starting a new company, if you're trying to have offices or hire people on the coast at the time, and probably still now, that it was just a lot more expensive to grow there. And so we thought that it made a lot of sense for us to grow here, because we had all this support from the state and from the local regulators, and from, again, Story County, city of Ames, all throughout Iowa. And if it wasn't for us starting here, we probably would not have been here today. The way that we were funded originally, a lot of startup SaaS companies at the time, especially, are venture capital funded, and that wasn't how Workiva grew. We were actually funded by friends and family. And a lot of local Iowans and people in the Midwest helped to support our early phases and rounds of financing, again, until we went public in 2014. But we were able to scale a company to be public on the New York Stock Exchange much more quickly and much lower cost than we would have been able to anywhere else. And so it really is a kudos to the state and all the support we received here in order to grow Workiva to where we are today. Where we are today is 19 offices across the globe. We serve customers in more than 180 countries. And we do have about 25% or so of our 2,600 employees are based in Iowa. We've been named Fortune 100 Best Places to Work for 6 years in a row. And we've been trusted by over 6,000 companies around the globe, including 85% of the Fortune 500, to do some of their most critical work around reporting, and whether it's regulatory reporting or ESG reporting, managing their audit programs, and any other kinds of management reporting and regulatory reporting that they might have. And so what we do is we do assured integrated reporting. What this means is that we provide not only financial, but non-financial or ESG sustainability data reporting, all within a secure audit-ready environment. Our fit-for-purpose SaaS technology streamlines processes that companies have, helps them to connect their data and their teams, ensures consistency in that data, all within our secure audit-ready cloud platform. I guess the way that to think about it is that Workiva really shines where data consistency, integrity, and accuracy are critical and narrative is required. It's the key components of our technology is the ability to link data no matter what your work product is. So whether it's a regulatory report, whether it's a management report, if it's your ESG reporting, no matter what our customers are creating within our platform, we link that data across all their work products so that they can rely on the data being updated automatically from wherever their sources are. And it flows through to all the different systems of record. So it's a really, it's a very secure environment for them to do their most trusted reporting.
That's great. I think, what an important service that you're providing, as you mentioned, the critical data, the necessary data that goes into our regulatory system to make sure that companies are performing as advertised, and companies are putting their trust into you and your product and your teams to make sure that happens. And the other big takeaway I think I have from that is just the sense of partnerships with the Ames Economic Chamber Alliance, the city, the county, Iowa State University, a gem in our state. When you think about economic development, I think it's been a minute since I've checked on this, but I think 4 of the last 5 IPOs that have come out of the state of Iowa have originated in the Iowa State Research Park. And so just a sense of economic powerhouse that is that university, and the other 2 public universities too, but especially Iowa State, when you think about creating jobs, transferring technology from the university into the private sector, is awesome. So that's a really cool backstory. So Jill, as we think about Workiva's value proposition and how you differentiate from your competitors, which you sort of just talked about, can you share some specific examples of how you drive value for your customers through your solutions and then your services as well, expanding on some of the intro remarks there?
Sure, absolutely. So the focus of Workiva is really that we provide a platform. And so as I was talking about, it's not just that we're doing these individual reports and they're all separate and nobody's talking to one another within our customers and within the teams that are operating within our platform. It really is that we bring them all together. We help to create a better efficiency model. We help them to save money not only on their software costs, but on their cost to staff some of these processes. And really, it's a matter of our competitors, there's not one competitor that we have within our markets that operates across all of the areas where we help our customers. Within financial reporting or regulatory reporting, we have one set of competitors. Within GRC or audit and risk controls, we have another set of competitors. Within carbon and sustainability reporting, we have another set of competitors. But Workiva is the only company that can provide assured integrated reporting within one platform. Otherwise, it's a matter of piecing together individual solutions in order to get to the same result. And so the value proposition that we have is exactly that. It's a matter of being a more simple process, lowering their cost to manage multiple softwares, instead of having to negotiate and put in place all these different relationships with multiple vendors of software. They have one-stop shop, and we can help them, across all of their reporting needs. And so that's really the way that that's where we focus on as our value differentiator. And specific examples would be some of the very largest customers that we work with. They have probably, upwards of 10 plus solutions with us. So it's not only that they're doing their SEC reporting with us, they're probably doing global statutory reporting. They're doing their ESG reporting. They might be considering, we have a new product that we just rolled out this summer, Workiva Carbon. They might be considering Workiva Carbon as a part of their solutions that they work with us. They're doing audit and risk controls programs within our platform. If it's a banking customer, we also do regulatory banking reporting, insurance, same thing. Oil and gas often have a lot of different regulations that they're reporting under. And we help them no matter what their needs are. So that really is where we come into the best value, or the most that we can bring to them, is being able to just manage all that within our platform.
Yeah, that's great. And I think, one of the other ways in which you bring value is just sort of that, you're not, the company's not that old. You still have that entrepreneurial mindset. You're fostering innovation at every opportunity, including on the financial side. And so, as CFO, you've led some of that innovation on the financial side. Would love for you to get into some of the examples of how financial strategies at your company have fostered that innovation to make sure that you guys continue to be competitive, and how do you see the role specifically as the CFO evolving to support that culture of innovation throughout the company and throughout your teams?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it's one that I really love, because we are, me and my team, myself and my team, are Workiva's #1 customer. We are full users of the platform, where it makes sense. Of course, we're not a bank, so we're not doing any kind of banking reporting and that sort of thing. But we're a public company, and any place where we offer solutions to our customers, where Workiva can, we're customer #1. And so, as with my counterparts at other companies, the role of CFO has continued to change. It changes daily. There's a lot of issues that are continuing to increase, and it's a much more complex role than it has been in the past. And it's inclusive of not only financial challenges, but also non-financial sustainability challenges, and really dealing with the whole reporting environment of a company. And inclusive of trying to be more efficient and managing in a really tough macro environment. And so there's a lot of things that CFOs are dealing with. And the examples of how we help move our product forward is that we try to make sure, as a company and within my team, that disclosure is not a distraction. It's really an opportunity. How do you use that opportunity of a disclosure that's a requirement and get your message out? How do you show the strength of your company in those disclosures? And so it's really important that we make investments in our technology and in our teams and in our platform to be able to help CFOs and other teams throughout all of our customers solve these really complex challenges. And Workiva has got a really high retention rate. So we have a 97% gross retention rate, meaning that we keep the majority of our customers. When a customer comes on board, it's very rare that they leave. And it's a huge, I think that shows the strength of our platform, the ease of use of our platform, and the importance of it, that we really don't tend to lose customers. It's only mostly uncontrollable events if there's an M&A or bankruptcy or that sort of thing. And through studies that we've commissioned, customers do report about a 200% return on investment from using Workiva because of all the reasons that I've been talking about. Just one platform, consistent application, consistent usage across your teams. And so we're really proud of that. And I think probably one other thing to point to is that we have really strong relationships with the large accounting firms. You think Deloitte, PwC, or KPMG, and we work closely with them as well across the globe to make sure that we're solving the problems that our common customers have. So we stay ahead of the needs of customers today or companies today by making sure that we're there when they're finding out about regulations, when we're learning about new regulations, when we're learning about new opportunities. We have the staff and the team, and it really developed a great R&D development team. And we can really quickly, as soon as those regulations come into play, as soon as a company needs to comply, we can be there and ready for them to do that day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and as the CFO, you're making sure that all those pieces align and that that the teams have the resources to capitalize on those opportunities. I think that really demonstrates that shifting sort of mindset that a CFO has to navigate on a daily basis, on a daily changing basis, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. So as we've been talking about, Workiva over the years has successfully navigated from that startup as web filings in 2008 to now a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. And it proves, as you mentioned again before, that a thriving tech culture, a thriving tech community in Iowa is possible. So as you look at the landscape, what's maybe the first thing or other attributes that you would point to that companies should consider when trying to innovate, trying to scale, trying to thrive here in our communities in Iowa?
I think it's already what you just talked about it, Joe, and it's about that partnership, and it's about the collaboration with your communities and with local leaders. You really can't scale alone. There's no sense in that. It's to try and carve your own path. You're working with the local community. There's so many resources of people and companies that have been there, done that love to connect, and building those relationships is really important. But you need to look for the resources that are available to you. I talked about Workiva's background and our funding early on, that we were not venture capital funded. And I think that's a testament to the relationships that our founders built and to their belief in Workiva and the opportunity in front of us at that time was a much smaller opportunity. And so I don't know if they would have thought about what we have today, but the belief that there's a there and
Right.
and that we could build something that was so impactful, and the support that Iowa brought was key. And like I was saying, that there really is local investment community support is strong. Support from the state and counties and cities throughout the state are very strong. And there are investors locally too that are looking for those great ideas to support. And so I think that it's good to build those networks and to look for the resources that are available. And then building a company in Iowa, it really is just, and you mentioned it at the outset of the call, it offers employees really affordable living, really strong quality of life, great communities, great schools. It's great. Well, on a day like today, it's a beautiful day out. So beautiful weather. We won't talk about February, but in general, it's a really great place to build a business and raise a family. So you can get some really great employees here too.
You bet. You talked so much about the local connections and the partnerships that you've formed earlier on in the company's founding, but you continue to strive and create new partnerships and ingrain yourself with the partnerships that helped get the company and yourself to where you're at today, and you've expanded that even internationally. So would love to get you to talk maybe a little bit about your work locally, how you've leaned into some of those different opportunities, and maybe a couple of lessons learned in working with local organizations and international organizations too, as Workiva has really spread across the globe.
Sure. So hitting on the local organizations first, and I think that I already have mentioned them once, but the Ames Regional Economic Alliance, formerly the Ames Chamber, that was a great early connection for us. And the engagement that they have and for us, this is a plug for them. They also offer a lot for our employees. So the local programming, and it just makes a more well-rounded, I guess, business environment, but also it gives your employees some place to connect. And so it's, that kind of a thing is a real big plus. And case in point, Iowa Business Council. So other local connections, working with other local companies and learning from them and hearing about challenges and successes that Iowa businesses have had. It's always really great to be able to network and to just share ideas. So, those are some great local ones. As far as globally, we've had great success and have been really excited to get involved with the UN Global Compact CFO Coalition and the World Economic Forum. So Workiva is members of both of those. Workiva was actually the first SaaS company to join the UN Global Compact in 2021. And one of the groups that we're involved in is there's the UN CFO Coalition, and I serve on that group. And it was created in order to support UN Sustainable Development Goals, so the SDGs. And the reason that the UN formed that group was to help show how corporate entities can really make a difference at a higher level in those global sustainable development goals of the UN. You and I individually, we could do what we can to be very sustainable in our households. We can try and reduce waste. We can conserve water, those sorts of things. But individual households, it's hard to add up to the large impact that global organizations can make. And so connecting with those global organizations to talk about the things that we put in place to put corporate dollars towards sustainable development goals. It's a very broad range of goals. We won't go into them here, but 17 sustainable development goals and the way that corporate entities can help support those. And so the reason that we got involved was because we believe in it as a company, which I think is another reason why our employees really love our culture, is because we walk the talk. Mm-hmm. We believe very strongly that we can be a source of improvement and good in the world, and this is one way that we can do it. So getting involved in that, and me sitting on that coalition and helping to try and make progress towards those goals throughout the world.
That's really good. So we've got the the local, we've got the international sort of perspective. I want to kind of meet in the middle and talk about statewide efforts. And as you know, workforce continues to be, one of the top things that we talk about at the Iowa Business Council when you attend our quarterly meetings. But would like to spend some time about, how companies are attacking this workforce issue. And your company's a bit unique, obviously, as a SaaS company. Workiva has an extremely high employee engagement and retention rate, which you've mentioned. So what are some of the things that you'd point to that you'd attribute the success for that employment engagement, that employment retention, and maybe, for those listening, what are some things to replicate as companies are looking to expand in Iowa, retain their current employees, and continue to create great expansion opportunities in our state?
Sure. So it's a great question. I think that for Workiva, as we've grown and scaled across the globe, it was really important to us to build an inclusive environment that really recognizes and celebrates different cultures and points of view. Even as we build our teams now, we don't focus so much on where people are located. We focus more on their background and experience and how it can help us meet our corporate goals, how it can help us really execute on our strategy. And I think that is a part and parcel how we built such a strong culture. For us in particular, we're probably not as much as common as maybe some Iowa companies. We do tend to skew very young in our workforce. And I think that it feels more important even when you have that, because I think that the culture and some of that importance is felt more when you have a younger staff, generally skewing younger, of course. And so it's just something that we really pay attention to. With 25% of our employees still based in Iowa, we're really proud of our Midwest roots and that culture we were able to build. But we also know that we're a global company and we need to have a global perspective in order to be successful and grow our business. And so we do make sure that we're hearing all those perspectives as we grow. We try to be very open to that. Specifically in Iowa, we partner really closely with local universities. Iowa State, again, we talked about strength of Iowa State. I'm an alum, so we can say that we love Iowa State. But we do get a lot of really great interns and hiring out of Iowa State, but also other universities. We focus on great schools around the globe, really. But that really strong internship program is a great example of how then we bring people on, because once you have them on as an intern, you show the great culture. It's a lot easier to hire them as a full-time employee. I know I have a lot of people on our team that started as interns. We were celebrating some anniversaries on a team meeting this morning, and there was 2 that were now full-time employees and had formerly been interns. So it's a really great way to bring in staff that understands your company and gives them a great place to grow, especially when you're talking about Iowa and Iowa State. They're already here. Let's just hire them and keep them in state, let them grow a family right here.
Well, I think it reflects, again, the culture of Workiva, the fact that you guys do such a great job in your intern program. They come in, they're hired, they're on your team. They're having a good experience, not only as an intern, but as a full-time employee. And then they're like your pipeline back into the university. Hey, you should really go for this internship to their, classmates or friends that are maybe a year or 2 behind them in school. And then you just, fill your talent pipeline. I think that's such a great way to go about that.
Yeah, I agree.
So Jill, in the remaining time, the moment we've all been waiting for, sort of the leadership lightning round here at the Iowa Business Cast. Would love to just kind of get your personal take on a few things. And I think a lot of people are really Looking forward to learning how, top executives of some of Iowa's largest employers, structure their day, particularly their morning. You mentioned that as a CFO, there's always something going on, but how do you start your day, particularly with a young family? When do you wake up? When do you log on or get to the office? What do you do to set yourself up for success before your day, runs away from you and you have to do like a webcast series in the middle of the afternoon or something like that?
Uh, this is a funny question because there's no routine. It just depends. Like,
That's the routine.
does everybody have practice? Is there anything early? Do we have to run anybody anywhere? Who has to be where? Am I traveling? Because that's the other thing, is that I do tend to travel a fair amount. And so then it's, am I on the road or am I at home?
Mhm.
But the routine, yes, is that there's no routine, and you just you get through to, okay, when you get logged in, and then once you log in, you can see where where you go from there. But it tends to vary widely depending on the day.
Yeah, very widely, and probably, you're never off, right? If you're international, there's always something going on in a different time zone across the globe.
Sure. Mhm.
So as an innovative CFO, there's so many things that you have to stay on top of, not just the financial things and the regulatory items that come across your desk, but all the latest in software and technology and other innovations. So how do you stay informed on all of those topics through, podcasts, media, newspapers? How do you fit all that in, and what sorts of things are you consuming to stay on top of industry and business news?
Sure. Well, when I am at home, I always start with the local news while I'm getting ready. So
Yep.
I love it. It's where I go initially. Because you can watch it, you can listen in. And past that, do check out the Wall Street Journal on a fairly often. If not daily, every other day, just to catch up on the types of things that they're reporting on. I get a lot of newsletters, online newsletters, and I generally will go through those on a regular basis. I get a lot of, in my role as CFO, I do get a lot of updates daily from regarding different companies, and analysts and investors' takes on some of those companies. So reading through those to see what's applicable to us as a business, and the impact that we're likely to have potentially on our share price or in the market, depending on what's going on with other similar SaaS companies, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of different places that you get information from. Oh, and you have a really great network. So you like other within the executive team sharing articles between us, and getting a lot of great information that way too.
That's great. So in your downtime, or when you're trying to find downtime, is there a book that you read recently that you'd recommend to folks? Are there things that you're binging on Netflix or Amazon Prime that you'd want to recommend to people? What does your Kindle list look like, and your Netflix browser look like? To the extent that you're willing to share. No judgment.
I get it. No, I'm actually just starting to read Own It by Sally Krawcheck. So we have our Workiva has an user conference in Denver here in a few weeks, and Sally Krawcheck is one of the people who will be speaking. And I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's an executive, former CFO at Citi, and currently is the CEO of Ellevest. It's a forum of women, focused on women, supporting women in investments, women's in investments. And so I'm reading her book because I get the honor of interviewing her at our
Oh,
user
wow.
conference. And
Wow.
so I'm brushing up on my background. So just candidly, but I'm glad that I have the opportunity not only to speak with her, but the book is really great. So take a look at that one. And then as far as binge watching, it's not Netflix. I think it's on Hulu, but my husband and I just recently finished Shogun, and
Yeah.
it was a really good show. Have you seen that one?
No, it's on the list. Yeah, I
Yeah, you
didn't
should
think
watch
I'd
it.
be.
It's really interesting. You have to actually pay attention because it's subtitles mostly. There's very little.
Yeah,
It's a mixture of Japanese and English, so you actually have to pay attention. But it was a really good show.
yeah, I've heard great things about that. I never thought I'd have a samurai type show on my list, but there it is. You're like the fourth or fifth person to recommend that. So
Yeah. check it out. It was good.
Yeah, that's great. Well, Jill, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you especially for your leadership, not only in the state of Iowa, but obviously within the Iowa Business Council. You lead by example every single day. We so appreciate your time and attention to engage with us. What final words would you like to leave our audience with today?
Oh, just thanks for listening and for the opportunity to speak with you all. And I'm happy to be here and supporting the state of Iowa and growing a family here. And I've always lived in Iowa, get to travel, get the opportunity, thankfully, to travel far and wide, but it's always good to come home. So thanks for the opportunity to grow here, and really appreciate it, and appreciate what the Iowa Business Council does in support of supporting employees in the state too. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Jill. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back next month with another episode of the Iowa BizCast with another member of the Iowa Business Council. Thanks everybody. Have a great week.